So we're looking at Bennett's Point, we're looking at Fenwick. It looks like you're still in that warning as well. Over to Chisholm, Hickory Hill. There's an area that we've got to be concerned about as we head up towards Whitehall. And this is all, again, moving to the northwest at about 50 miles an hour. So it's a very, very fast system. So if you're watching us tonight in this warned area, what I want you to do right now is get to your safe place. If you live in a two-story structure, I need you to come down to the bottom floor, get into the interior part of your home. Usually that's a bathroom or a closet. Put as many walls between you and the outside of the house as possible in this area. And again, if you're just joining us, this is a tornado warning that was just issued for Beaufort and Colleton counties. Beaufort and Colleton counties until 1 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain. At the very least, we're getting very heavy rain. Aerial flood advisory was just issued just because of all the heavy rain. All right, let's back out just a little bit. We'll kind of give people an overall perspective of what's going on. And you can see Beaufort. So generally, it looks like most of the cells, any potential tornadic cell would be moving northwest, so about 50 miles an hour. So that's why Walterboro looks like you're not in the warned area, but you're just north of the warned area. So if you're watching us tonight from Walterboro, certainly please be careful as well, because they might extend this up into the Walterboro area, but at least it's in Colleton County. Hollywood and Seabrook, right now you're looking okay. You've got rain on top of you, but in addition to the fact that the actual cells are moving northwest, basically the whole line is moving northeast. So some of this heavier rain is going to be moving into your region as well. So let's go right along Highway 17, Grace, and we can Grace is our meteorology intern from the College of Charleston, and she's getting a trial by fire, if you will, helping us out. So there's Sheldon. Right here, this is Gray, South Carolina. That's where the actual radar is. So you can see the tornado warning was issued very close to the radar. What happens is many times, the farther you get away from the radar, keep in mind now the curvature of the earth causes that radar beam to go up a little bit. So now that we're a little closer, we can see more of the lower levels of the atmosphere and get a better readout of exactly what might be happening. So just to reiterate, this is not a tornado on the ground. It wasn't a sighted tornado. It basically is a situation where the National Weather Service seeing some potential rotation within a severe thunderstorm. We have another product called our Velocity product, which basically dissects the storm and looks inside the storm where you can see incoming and outgoing. That's the great thing about Doppler radar, is you look inside the storm, you can see air coming to the radar and air going away from the radar, what we call a couplet. So Grace, let's see if we can pop on the Velocity product, and we'll see. There we go. And it looks like potentially right about there. That's where there could be some rotation within that tornado warned area. So this is a product, and you see the green and the red. The green is coming towards the radar. The red is going away from the radar. So when you have the red and the green right next to each other, it's not a real pronounced signature right now, but certainly something that we've got to take note of. And it's moving northwest at about 50 miles an hour. So any circulation, any rotation within this severe thunderstorm potentially is moving more into Colleton County based on at least what we know at this particular time. Let's go back to the reflectivity, and we'll show you exactly where the heaviest rains are and which way they're going. Grace, can you put this in motion for us? I think we can see, there it is, and you see a great example of what we're talking about. See these cells, and they're rotating to the northwest. So a lot of this is going to be moving into Walterboro. If you're watching us tonight from Walterboro, certainly you need to make sure you're in your safe place as well, just in case, just to be on the safe side. But this is a pretty elongated tornado warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service, goes until 1 o'clock in the morning. In addition to that, we've got more rain that's moving onshore of Seabrook Island, eventually into the Charleston area. Let's back out just a little bit and give you a little wider look at how far this extends out into the ocean. So you may be saying, well, this is probably going to stay away from me, but as these cells rotate northwest, look what happens. We've got more forming, and this is our biggest concern when you get a tropical system, that you've got these rain bands, these feeder bands that around the big circulation. There's the circulation right there north and west of Savannah, and these fingers of rain are rotating onshore, and any of these have potentially some rotation, some circulation within them that could bring not just heavy rain, but also water spouts on shore that could become land-based tornadoes. So again, this is where the tornado warning is. There's not as much heavy rain in the Charleston area, but certainly there's that possibility as this feeder band kind of shifts up the coast a little bit. I would say Seabrook and Kiowa and Folly Beach all the way to Charleston Harbor, eventually Mount Pleasant. Some of this is going to be heading your way, but the heaviest rain has really been confined to right along the Savannah River, all the way to Beaufort County and now into Colleton County. The number of reports we're getting out of the southeast Georgia area, especially around Savannah, with heavy rains, 3-4 inch rainfall totals as these storms came on by, in addition to very strong wind gusts. Had a 70-knot wind gust near Hilton Head, about 80 miles per hour here earlier. Eventually, this line is also going to be rotating on through, so we've got a busy night, and this is exactly what we anticipated. We had a feeling that this would be an overnight, nighttime kind of situation, and now things are starting to take shape as far as the severe weather. So we've had severe thunderstorms. We have right now a tornado warning. Let's go back into that tornado warned area, and we'll kind of see exactly where the stronger storms are. So within this region, and we're looking at Dale. Dale is where we started to see at least where we thought the rotation would be, and the storms are moving very quickly right along 17. There's 174, there's 64 leading into Walterboro. Grace, let's go down just a little bit and so we can see Walterboro. So come down just a little bit the other direction. Well, you see Wiggins and Bennett's Point. And I go heading up to Walterboro we go. There's Ashepoo and there's Walterboro. So just really right to your south is that leading edge of where the tornado warning is. But keep in mind, some of this heavier rain hasn't moved into Walterboro yet, but it's coming. So if you're watching us tonight from Walterboro, if you're watching us tonight from Drawdy over towards Hendersonville, time to make sure you get into your safe place just in case right now. What is your safe place? Where should you go? If you live in a mobile home, we certainly wish you could get out of that mobile home, get to more reinforced structure. We know in this situation might be really tough to do, but try to protect yourself the best you possibly can. If you've obviously been driving around, hopefully not at this late hour, you don't want to be in your car. You want to get into some kind of a building. If you live in an apartment complex and you're on the second or third floor, hopefully you've made friends with a person on the bottom floor and you can maybe knock on the door and spend some time with them. Just because we like you to be on the lowest level, we like you to be in the interior part of your building, your house, your apartment, whatever it might be. Put as many walls between you and the outside of the house as possible. Grace, any new information coming from the National Weather Service? So nothing new. They will continue this warning until 1 o'clock, and you can clearly see why. It's a pretty long warning. In other words, not in terms of time, but in terms of geographical area. It extends pretty far to the north, almost to Walterboro, and a lot of this is what the National Weather Service has been concerned about. Going into today, we knew this could potentially be an issue. It normally is when we have landfalling tropical systems, especially when they come in from our western side. Yes, the eastern side as well, but a lot of times when these storms come in, the rotation, the circulation, when a tropical system makes landfall, keep in mind there's little rotating vortices within the actual giant tropical system that can spin up and cause these tornadoes. Typically they're short-lived, typically they're weak, either an EF0, EF1, but still you're talking about winds 75, 80, 85 miles an hour in some cases. All right, let's back out, Grace, just a little bit and give, again, our viewers a look at exactly how expansive this area of thunderstorms is at this time. A lot of lightning right there. That is indicating that there's a lot of energy. This is not weakening at this time. This is getting stronger or maintaining its strength, and that's what we've been looking at. Now some of that lightning kind of bleeding over into Seabrook, over to Hollywood as we go out 17, out towards Sheldon, down towards 95. Of most concern is the heavy rain that's about to move into Walterboro. It already has moved into Walterboro, at least parts of it. Grace, if you can go all the way into Walterboro, we're going to kind of give some street level mapping if you can. Just keep on zooming in. And again, I'm asking Grace, who's our College of Charleston meteorology intern with us this summer, helping me out. And you can see, if you can stop the radar now, Grace, just kind of stop it and we'll kind of zoom in. This is Walterboro. You see all the streets. There's Driggers Corners, 63. The heaviest rain has not really reached you yet. There are some moderate showers in here, but the heavy rain is just down to your south, and it's moving very, very quickly coming in from your south and southeast. So be on the lookout. Again, we haven't had a confirmed tornado. There is a tornado warning, but A lot of times the Weather Service doesn't issue a tornado warning just because they've seen a tornado. The reason we issue it in advance, because there's a severe thunderstorm that could produce a tornado, is it gives you some lead time, gives you that time you need to react, maybe up to 15 or 20 or even 30 minutes, and that way you can get to your safe place as quickly as possible. All right, let's back out a little bit and see exactly what's going on again with that cell, how far away the heavier rain is. There it is, extending all the way down through Edisto Beach and offshore. And this is moving northwest very rapidly at 50 miles an hour. But at the same time, the individual lines are moving northwest. The whole mass of moisture is moving northeast. So it also is crawling up into Charleston County. It's crawling towards lower Dorchester County, into Berkeley County, and eventually will move into Charleston County. So this is going to be, looks like a bumpy next few hours or so. We thought that we would probably get some of this at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and it would be maybe up to 4 or 5 o'clock before we actually see a lot of this move on out. There is a tornado watch. You can see underneath the rain, a lot of the counties shaded in yellow. That tornado watch goes until 5 o'clock. This is certainly not unexpected. The Storm Prediction Center issued that tornado watch for us earlier this afternoon, and obviously now it was a watch that was well deserved because we've had some tornado warnings issued in Georgia. We've had some in South Carolina, including a current one that has been issued for Beaufort and Colleton counties, and you might be able to see that. Let's zoom in again to that warning area, and that goes until 1 o'clock on your Thursday morning. So here's the heavy rain, there is the lightning. Let's zoom in. So we're at Ashaboo Siding, Wiggins, over towards Fenwick. Let's see also, we've got over towards Whitehall, up to Hendersonville. This is the very heavy rain. These rainfall rates are probably 2 or 3 inches per hour. Up towards Ritter as we move right along 303 to Drawdy. That's where the heaviest rain is. Again, has not quite made it to Walterboro yet, but it's coming. Some of the rain around Walterboro. Down to Niles, over to Burnt Church Crossroads, Iron Crossroads. There's kind of the edge of where that tornado warning is. Pon. As we head up towards Lowndes Landing, we've got some rain there, but not officially in that warning area. Iron Crossroads also. And again, just to the north, there's Walterboro right there. So not quite to Walterboro, but the heaviest rain is right on your doorstep. So at the very least, we've got heavy rain going on that will be moving on through. At this moment, we have no new information in terms of any sighting of a tornado, but I can tell you that we've had reports of possible tornadoes down around the Paris Island area in Beaufort County, and then we're getting reports that there has been in fact some damage down there. So can't confirm a tornado. A lot of times people say it must have been a tornado that came through. Could have easily been straight line winds, which basically thunderstorms build up, and thunderstorms are like we are. They are born, they become mature, and they die. For us, hopefully it's a long period of time. For thunderstorms, it might be 2 or 3 hours. So when the thunderstorm collapses, the air, the updraft holding up that thunderstorm collapses as well, comes down to the ground, doesn't bore into the ground, hits the ground, and spreads out. And if you're in the path of that collapsing thunderstorm, certainly it could be a very devastating damage to you and your property. But in this case, we basically go back the next day. The National Weather Service does. They survey the damage. They can differentiate between what may have been straight line wind damage and what potentially could have been tornado activity as well. All right.
Power outages too, Rob.
We are getting
dozens and dozens of power outages in Colleton County. Someone's telling me, Cindy is telling me, it's pouring down in the Ridgeville community, the Lebanon community too, just heavy rain there. But power outages certainly becoming a problem right now.
All right, thank you, Brendan Clark. Thank you, guys. Carolyn Murray is in the studio. We've got Grace Lau in the studio, our meteorology intern from the College of Charleston. So we're getting hail also. So obviously that is many times a precursor of tornadic activity when we do see hail, because that means there's a lot of activity, a lot of updraft, taking the moisture from the bottom of the clouds, sending it to the top where the temperature is freezing. You form a little ice pellet, comes back down to the ground where the downdraft goes back up, and all of a sudden that cycle and you're forming that hail. But that tells you there's a lot of turbulence going on inside of that cloud. Grace, where's the hail report?
Beaufort, Colleton County.
Okay, Beaufort and Colleton County. So we're just getting some general hail reports there. Brendan's saying we have a lot of power outages. Grace, let's go over to Ridgeville. We got to move over the map the other direction. We're going to go into Dorchester County. There's Colleton County, Cottageville that is, and now we're heading over into Dorchester County. Coachman's Corner coming to 17. There's Dorchester Estates, Somerville. Let's go right up here. This cell right there That's probably the one that's creating some issues as we move up towards Long Ridge along 176 and Monk's Corner, and then we're out towards Harleyville and Ridgeville here. There's Ridgeville down to the south. So the rain's really picking up. The intensity of the rain is picking up. It was very light. I know when we were on the news for our 10 o'clock on the CW and News 2 at 11, we had Riley Benson, we had Kate Prestack out in Somerville, we had Riley in downtown, but I know Kate was getting rained on a little bit. I would say that most of the rain is now picking up just a bit. Heading up into Berkeley County, Bono to St. Stephen, we've got light rain there to Monk's Corner to Cordsville. So the heavier rain really hasn't reached that area yet, but it will because of what's going on down to the south and west. Let's back out just a little bit and we'll kind of show you the big picture again. This is the area of concern. This is the one that came out of Savannah, really came out of Jacksonville earlier tonight, the circulation. We were watching it, tracking it, kind of timing it in here, deciding when it might get to our area, and it's here, no doubt about it. And one thing to note, again, this is the area that is moving onshore northwest at a pretty good clip, but also moving northeast. So it's already moved into Edisto Beach. It's going to be sliding up the coast. So if you're watching us again tonight from Kiowa and Seabrook up to Folly Beach, over to James Island and Johns Island, Wadmalaw Island, this is what's coming your way right here. That's heavy rain. No doubt you're probably seeing the lightning flashes and you're hearing the thunder. It is coming very, very soon. Walterboro, yes, it looks like the heaviest rain is just on your doorstep, if not on your in your town right now. We knew it was coming, and that extends back into northwestern Colleton County on the other side of 95, out towards Islandton and Ashton and Smokes. Be careful there. But this is something we'll be watching. There you can see some moderate rain that's up in the Somerville area. And we also saw just a little while ago, Grace and I were looking at some of the velocity products there and seeing a little bit of rotation up in Dorchester County. I did not see any warnings issued for that, but just another thing that we have to keep an eye on. So in case you're just joining us, this is all from Tropical Storm Elsa. As of the last advisory at 11 o'clock, it was moving through southeast Georgia. The leading band, this right here, was moving through the Savannah area. And boy, did it kick up some weather in Savannah with heavy rainfall and some very, very strong winds. Then it moved into South Carolina. We've had wind gusts reported around Hilton Head of 80 miles an hour. And also, it's now moved into Colleton County, out of Beaufort County, where a tornado warning was issued just a few minutes ago. It goes until 1 o'clock in the morning, so we've got another 15 minutes. Grace, as far as we know, it is still in effect, correct? Okay, tornado warning is still in effect. So thank you, National Weather Service, the meteorologists out there, something called NWS Chat, which is our link to them, and they get a lot of information and share it with us so we can share it with you to make sure we keep you safe also. So what's going to happen now is we're going to be watching this tornado warning. 1 o'clock it is expected to expire. We hope it does without any other issues. But then we've got to watch the potential for the heavier rain moving in. The best news I can give you is, remember, the low tide, I think at 117, so we're about 30 minutes away from the low tide, and it looks like some of the heaviest rain will be moving into Charleston, maybe a little bit beyond that 117 low tide, but close enough where we won't have at least a tidal situation, a high tide, to have to deal with. At least it would be low tide when the heaviest rain moves through. But as you know, even during a low tide with heavy rain in downtown Charleston and some other areas around the city, because it is so low, we could certainly have some flooding. And all of our public officials have kind of warned us about this, and here it is coming to fruition with this band of heavy rain that's moving on in. All right, Grace, let's zoom in to this area right within the warning, and we'll kind of give you, if we can zoom in and get some cities, some landmarks. Right now, Fenwick, we talked about Fenwick, Ashapoo, over to Wiggins, to Bennett's Point, jumping over to Little Edisto and Freedman, Edisto Beach. You can see very heavy rain. And you look at our legend, and it goes from light to heavy, and right there in between, that's where we're seeing the yellow and the orange and the red and the kind of the deep brown, and that's exactly what we've got going on right over Colleton County. So very heavy rainfall. Aerial flood advisory was issued in advance of this band of rain. Weather Service knew that most likely we would see some potential flooding because of the rainfall rates that were coming in, the way this was moving very quickly to the north and east, and also the fact that we've got some of the moisture coming in from the ocean. So we're in Colleton County now on our maps with Wiggins and Bennett's Point down to Edisto Beach. 174, there's a lot of rain there. Wadmalaw, you can kind of see that in the northern or northeastern tip of this map at least, and also you'll be getting some of the heavier rain. Let's give you a better perspective, a wider perspective, if you will, because I think it's to note that this extends all the way off into the Atlantic Ocean. So this is like a continuous funnel of moisture. And there it is, these fingers, and we'll be watching them, these little rain bands that will be moving on shore. Tornado warning still in effect until 1 o'clock. Heavy rain going on, wrapping around. There's also some heavy rain right along the Savannah River here, and that's going to be moving on through. Most of the heaviest rain is going to be moving into Charleston very soon, lower Dorchester County, if not all of Dorchester County. I think it'll hold together into Berkeley County, kind of jump over the city, going into upper Charleston County, and then let's see if it holds together for Georgetown and Williamsburg. Just to recap, a tornado watch is in effect until 5 o'clock in the morning. This was not a surprise. We knew this potentially could happen. Tornado warning until 1 o'clock for this area in Colleton and Beaufort counties. And no tornadoes have been cited. This was not issued based on someone seeing a tornado. This was issued based on the severe thunderstorm warning detected by the radar that could potentially produce a tornado. And Dale was the first landmark where we think the possible rotation or possible tornado was cited by the National Weather Service radar, which is right down here. You see this sweep? Every time this line goes around, that just updates the radar. So it's a continuous sweep. If you ever wonder what is that going around, as it goes around, it updates the radar. We know that rain moves. We know sometimes it moves quickly. So it's very important to be able to see where the rain is and where it's going and how fast it is moving. So this area of concern is the fact that it's producing very heavy rain. It's going to shift up the coast. Grace, zoom right into this area right here if you can, because I'm curious to see where the heaviest rain is. Has it reached Seabrook? Yes, Seabrook Island, there you are. It's almost to you. Wadmalaw Island, very, very close. Kiowa also will be in the heavy rain here very soon. And it looks like it's going to hold together all the way to Folly Beach. So Folly Beach, James Island, Johns Island, there's Wadmalaw. The heaviest rain is right there. And there's already lightning right over Wadmalaw Island. So it's been very active anyway in terms of noise with the thunder going on. And just a reminder that if you hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So in a way, it's a blessing and a curse that this is happening at night. We know a lot of you are hopefully in bed watching us right now, staying protected, staying safe, and not on the roadways. At the same time, the curse is the fact that when you do have severe weather at night, when you do have tornadoes at night, it becomes another problem. A lot of times people want to see exactly what's going on, trying to run outside to maybe bring in their garbage can or their lawn furniture as it's blowing around. So, all right, Grace, do we still have that tornado warning going on? I couldn't tell if it was still there or not. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we still have the warning. There's the outline. I know it kind of gets kind of dispersed amongst the actual reflectivity or the radar returns, but it is still there. We'll go for another about 11 minutes or so. This goes until 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to stay with you. That's our policy here, that if we are under a tornado warning, we will continue to make sure we update you. And I know it may seem like we're saying the same thing over and over again, but this is because we know that a lot of people may not be watching everything and joining in progress. So we want to make sure we keep everybody up to date the best that we possibly can. That's our commitment to you, our viewers. We've done this for many years, and we want to try to keep you safe and not sensationalize the weather, not tell you something you don't need to know. We hope we're telling you something you do need to know and trying to keep you safe. And we always err on the side of caution. We would like nothing to happen, but that's not always the case. And we knew going into today that it could be a very active overnight into the morning time, and that's exactly what's happening. And mainly just because of this main band that's been rotating or circulating around Tropical Storm Elsa. The winds at last report were 45 miles an hour. We felt like it probably would stay a tropical storm all the way through South Carolina with winds of at least 40. That's the official forecast, and it looks like that'll hold true. And we have had some pretty strong gusts of wind, mainly because of these thunderstorms. And many times you can have, strongest winds within a thunderstorm, and that can cause some major issues as well. So Walterboro, just to the south, the whole area is moving northwest at 55 miles an hour, so it is really booking as it's moving from the coast back inland. And the actual big massive moisture, though, is moving to the north and east. So while you have this area moving northwest, you've got the whole area moving northeast. And that's why you kind of see that it's starting to creep into central Charleston County, and eventually will be moving into Charleston and then Mount Pleasant, Daniel Island. It looks like down towards the plantations in lower Dorchester County, you are going to get some pretty heavy rain. There's 17A coming out of Walterboro all the way to Moncks Corner. And if you look at this, it's also moving generally off to the north and northeast. So a lot of you, I don't think there will be anybody who's not going to get at least some of this. And going into today, the probability of precipitation was 100%. And I think this one, in a forecasting mode, was probably a slam dunk because we really felt confident that we would get some of the rain. All right, let's give you a wider perspective. And as we do, we'll kind of show you exactly the big picture. And the big picture is, right now, everybody's getting rain. If you're watching us, if you're in the Channel 2 viewing area from Georgetown County to Charleston County, Williamsburg, all the way to Dorchester and Colleton, we have 6 counties, main counties that we service here at Channel 2, the Charleston, Berkeley, Dorchester, Colleton, Williamsburg, and Georgetown. If you ever wondered how we got our call letters, WCBD, the C, the B, and the D, stand for Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester. That's how we got our call letters, and those are the 3 primary counties that we serve, but we want to add on Colleton County, very important to us, Georgetown County, very important to us, Williamsburg County, very important, and certainly we don't want to forget about our friends out there as well. So upper Dorchester County, watching us from St. George and Harleyville and Ridgeville, looks like it's coming your way. We've already had some moderate rains falling, and the upper portions of Colleton County on the other side of Interstate 95, we mentioned Islandton, we mentioned Niles, we mentioned Ashton, we've mentioned Williams as well, getting some pretty strong storms. So Grace, let's zoom in right here if we can. And there's Edisto.
We can talk about power outages if you want. Yeah, give you a chance, because I know you're looking at all this stuff right now, but what else is kind of left behind? They've sending me some numbers from up in the newsroom. Hundreds of outages so far in Colleton County, 6,000 people without power in Beaufort County alone, and we know over 1,000 in Jasper County. This is all number from Dominion Energy, people without power right now. So we know this is certainly a very powerful storm, and it's left behind people with not power. Like I said, thousands in Beaufort County, over 6,000, over 1,000 in Jasper County, and hundreds and counting in Colleton County. As you say, this very powerful tropical storm Elsa moves towards our area here in the Low Country.
All right, we just had a recent update, Brendan, over towards Green Pond. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Green Pond, moving north at 40 miles an hour. So, you know, we're still in Colleton County. We're still certainly watching, exactly what's going on. Here's the progression of that cell and that storm, and it continues to move in. So a little concern, and the National Weather Service will let us know if they extend this even farther north, maybe up into the Walterboro area, but it's close enough where obviously if you're in Walterboro, and we've been kind of keeping tabs on what's going on, you can see that the heavy rain is moving on in. Let me stop it here. Let's take a look at the velocity product, and I don't really see. So what we're looking for is, the red and the green next to each other, and we have a couple of spots potentially, but nothing really significant that would concern me too much. But that doesn't mean that there's not something going on there, because obviously there are, at the very least, very strong winds causing all of these power outages. So I'll go back over to the wall, and Grace, I'll let you take control. And Brendan, if you have any information, please don't hesitate jumping in. Carolyn Murray is here as well.
And Robin, you said that this warning will is estimated to expire at 1 a.m.?
1 a.m. That's about 5 minutes from now. So that doesn't mean another warning won't kind of take over from this one, but that's what we'll wait for the Weather Service at 1 o'clock. Hopefully it expires, and that's it. But based on the radar returns, didn't see a lot on the velocity product. The velocity product, again, where we can dissect and look inside the storm, see the winds coming in and going away, gives us a little bit of rotation, shows potentially a tornado. Didn't see much going on there, but I do see a lot going on in terms of the rain. Obviously, you guys with the stats on the power outages because of the strong winds, a lot of the folks in Colleton County are without power. And I know Brendan and Carolyn, you guys are Facebook live streaming, is that true?
We are, Robin.
Okay.
We've got some questions that are coming in. As soon as we can get those questions, we're going to send them right over to you.
Okay, and again, that's another way to get us in terms of our broadcast is, I'm sure, hopefully we're Facebook Living this right now or on our countdown2.com streaming this. Obviously, power goes out, and you don't have access to a TV, well, you might have access to your cell phone, which is already powered up by battery, and hopefully you can receive the information. We always encourage people to find a way to get those warnings just in case, and one of the great ways is your cell phone by downloading our Storm Team 2 weather app and turn on the notifications, make sure the notifications are turned on, and you'll actually get to hear my voice tell you which kind of watch, which kind of warning it might be, and how to protect yourself. Grace, anything new from the National Weather Service? Okay, so that's great news. The warning, even though it's still up here, is expired a few minutes early. We love that. So the tornado warning has expired. And right now, there's no tornado warning that is still in place in Colleton and Beaufort counties. We'll continue to follow this cell. And again, at the very least, we're talking about torrential rains. We're talking about gusty winds, the power outages that have been going on as well. And this is all moving. Grace, let's zoom in on this area again, because I want to let our viewers upstream know that it's coming your way. Even though we've got all of this moving to the north, so it's already moved into Wadmalaw Island. Just a few minutes ago, we showed you Wadmalaw and you were in the green, but now the heaviest rain is right on top of you, Hollywood, up to Capwell's Crossroads. It's going to be moving right along 162, coming up 700 as you get on Maybank Highway and Bohicket. We've got some heavier rain coming towards you, Johns Island and Oakland. We estimate, and it's almost 1 o'clock, probably in the Charleston area, somewhere between 2 and 3 o'clock. When I say the Charleston area, I'm mainly talking about downtown, but obviously the area spreads out quite a bit. So again, these are the areas of rain, the areas of concern, and we're going to go over to Brendan and Carolyn to get an update on what these storms are doing here in the low country of South Carolina.
Yeah, well, Rob, I think the biggest thing we're seeing right now is it's knocking people out of power. That's the one thing, is thousands already experienced a storm down in the lower part of southeastern South Carolina, Beaufort, Jasper County, Colleton County experiencing power outages. Thousands of people without power right now.
And we've had Riley Benson in downtown Charleston throughout the day, and apparently conditions are beginning to fall apart in downtown Charleston. So let's go to Riley right now. Riley, we can see that it's beginning to come down.
Yeah, Carolyn, remember, we're here in downtown Charleston, this part of town. We're in the medical district. Right here behind me would be MUSC. And if you can see, it is starting to rain a little bit harder than it had been when we talked earlier. The wind is picking up. I'm not sure if you can see on the road behind me back here, but the water is pooling a little bit. Now, this road right here behind me is Doughty Street. Water is beginning to pool. We're having a little bit more wind picking up. We've seen a couple lightning strikes, so we are continuing to watch conditions. Now, we have been driving around down here. A condition or a concern for the city and city leaders has been flooding. We've been driving around. So far, we haven't seen any roads closed or significant flooding. Really, the gist of it is similar to like what you're seeing behind me here, where water is starting to pool on several roads in downtown, but nothing that's impassable to this point. We're going to continue to monitor that situation. We're going to continue to drive around down here and see if any roads are closed. But really, the big thing, like you guys mentioned, rain is picking up downtown. We're getting some stronger gusts of wind. We're going to continue to monitor these conditions and bring you the very latest both on air and online. But for now, reporting live in downtown Charleston, Riley Benson, Count on 2.
All right, well, let's get straight back to the low country chief meteorologist. Rob, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, brand new tornado warning, guys. This one was issued now for Charleston County. For Charleston County, this is the area right here. You can see the brand new warning. This warning has expired. This is a new warning from Seabrook to Hollywood, again encompassing Charleston County, because these cells are moving in. As we mentioned, we were concerned about these rain bands around Elsa coming in from the ocean, and that's exactly what's happened. So take a look. I'm going to go get the official information, but this was just issued, goes until 1:30 in the morning. Brendan and Carolyn, you guys talk about the power outages, and I'll read exactly what the statement is from the National Weather Service. Basically, about 12:58, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Edisto Island, moving north at about 50 miles an hour. So just to reiterate, 12:58, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Edisto Island, moving north at 50 miles an hour. So we'll zoom in here. And I just want to see exactly, there's Edisto Beach. So let's see if we have some rotation here as I'll check in our velocity product. I don't see, maybe this little area right here, I'll kind of circle it for you. Right about here, you kind of see just a little what we call couplet. Might be stretching it just a little bit, but certainly something that we need to keep watch on. and this was just issued just moments ago for Charleston County.
Meanwhile, we are still watching the power outages, a lot of them coming right now from the Colleton County area as well as in Jasper County, Rob. So this is pretty consistent with that line that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. All the Colleton County power outages, no surprise. You've had quite a night here with some high winds and some heavy rain. All right, Grace, I'm going to put you to work again. Our meteorology student from the College of Charleston is, hopefully they'll give you extra credit for this, but this is very important to helping us out. Grace, let's zoom in right into this warning. Let me give some folks some landmarks, other areas that are in this warned area. So in Bears Bluff, you are in the warning. Looks like Oak Grove, you are in the warning. All the way to Barrelville as we head up 174, Adams Run, you are in the warning. All the way over to Jericho, you also are in the warning to Ravenel, and then points north. Here's the northern extent up to Warren Crossroads. So basically there's 17 as we head out of town heading southbound, Ravenel. So all of these areas, and did you just see the sweep go around? And when the sweep went around, you saw that rain area advance. So the heavier rain is working its way right up 17, coming in from the south, moving north, moving towards the Charleston area. So that's something to watch very closely. All right, let's go over here, Grace, because I want to see who else is in the warning. Okay, they're at Berry Hill. What's that, Grace? All right, confirmed tornado over Edisto Island, we were told. Confirmed tornado over Edisto Island. There's Edisto Beach. So Edisto Island is just across into Charleston County, right there, Freedman. So basically moving to the north at about 50 miles an hour. We saw a little bit of rotation in there, but the National Weather Service, they did confirm a tornado. Correct, Grace? Is that? Okay, so Edisto Island, that was just a few moments ago. So if you're in Freedman, if you're along 174, if you're in any of those areas that we just called out, time now to get into your safe place. Please, if you live in a two-story structure, get to the bottom level. Get to an interior closet or hallway or bathroom. Put as many walls between you and the outside of the house as possible. If you need to protect yourself in the bathtub, pillow, make sure you protect your head, get down into a stance, because a lot of times many people are hurt by flying debris. So we understand there is a confirmed tornado over Edisto Island moving north. Back out just a little bit, Grace. I'll show the folks the extent of that tornado warning. This was just it. So there's Little Edisto. So again, it's moving generally in this area. So we'll see some of the areas or people that are in the path of this. Wamala Island, I'd be certainly on the lookout. Little Edisto, as this cell moves to the north, to Hollywood, to Adams Run, and then points to the north. So it does extend all the way almost up to 165 Delmar Crossroads. That is the northern extent of this warning. And this is all part of a larger complex of storms that is moving in from the ocean. Let's go back out, Grace, and we'll show everybody the wider perspective. And again, this is all the way in the ocean, and it extends many, many miles out in the ocean, and it's wrapping around, and this is, again, very typical. But I'll go check the information. Brendan and Carolyn, we'll get back to you guys, and just want to check the latest on this tornado.
Yeah, as you do that, Rob, we can still tell you that power outages are a big concern in many parts of southeastern South Carolina, as we are under that tornado warning in Charleston County until 1:30, just about a half hour from now. We do know nearly 1,000 people in Colleton County. This number has just been updated without power. This is all coming from Dominion Energy. Over 6,000 in Beaufort, over 1,100 in Jasper. Charleston, not too many yet, but as you can see, this line of storms is heading to Charleston. But the big news that we're talking about now is that a tornado has been confirmed on Edisto Island. So if you are in that area, you're asked to seek shelter, take cover in that area, as Rob has been saying right now. But Carolyn, as we sit here, we're looking at an event here that's causing a lot of people problems in that area.
And this is the time that our meteorologists have told us over the last 48 hours that they were anticipating that we would start to feel some of the effects of Elsa, and that certainly has come to light. Once again, not a big problem right now for power outages for people in Charleston County. Of course, that might change over the next couple of hours. Primary areas for power outages right now, Colleton, Beaufort, Jasper counties right now, with thousands of people being affected. Again, we are watching those numbers very closely, but the big concern right now is the confirmation of a tornado over Edisto. And so we are looking at that area very closely right now. Again, heed the warnings that you've already heard from everyone about taking cover, being safe, staying away from windows, making sure that you are covered. And again, we will continue to monitor this situation very closely as the weather continues to deteriorate throughout the evening. We have Riley Benson, who is in downtown Charleston right now. There was very little rain throughout the early part of the day. And as we took a look at downtown Charleston just a few minutes ago, we could see it start to rain. And of course, the wind was beginning to pick up. Kate Prestak has spent most of the evening in Somerville. We're going to check Kate out in just a little while and find out how things are looking there.
Yeah, and we talked about this the last couple of days when I was talking to Rob. We'd all go into his office to talk about the storm, exactly the impact it would have, and we knew tornadoes were going to be an issue, and we are seeing that right now. We want to go back to Rob right now for the latest on this. Rob, as we're looking at these graphics, you have a certain area that is circled.
Yeah, I'm looking at this area, guys, for potentially what we call a couplet. I did zoom in while you guys were talking and just kind of trying to analyze the best we possibly can. It's not a great signature, but let's just say apparently Peters Point Road, as we get up to Steamboat Landing, that seems to be a circulation that we're looking at very closely. And again, that is certainly within the warned area. There is the tornado warned area that goes until 1:30 that extends up to Little Edisto, Wadmalaw, Adams Run, Hollywood, all the way up to just about Delmar Crossroads, but it does cross 17 between Pon and Johns Island. This is the reflectivity or the velocity product. And when you look at this, you're looking at, and you can kind of see our legend, winds coming towards the radar, winds going away from the radar. I'll put the traditional radar back on there, and there is that warned area. I'll take the radar off for the moment. Let's see if I can, we'll take the radar off so you can kind of see exactly where the warned area is without the radar. There's still plenty of lightning there. We'll put the radar back on. And what I'm looking at is, as we animate this, you'll see these bands that just are rotating on shore. Nothing unusual about a tropical system because this is very typical. In this case, these bands are feeding off some of the Atlantic moisture and staying energized. We've still got plenty of lightning offshore. And what's going to happen here is that some of these are going to be moving into the Charleston area very, very soon. And we've kind of given you a progression. And keep in mind now, we're still under that tornado warning, Charleston County until 1:30. And this is the warning that we're talking about right in this general area here where you see Hollywood and the top of the red polygon. And could it be extended? That is certainly possible as these cells keep on moving inland. All right, I'm going to turn the controls back over to Grace. I'll go back on the wall. And we're animating this for a reason, guys, just because, as you see, there's still plenty of moisture yet to come. As it moves in right across Edisto Beach and Edisto Island, now it's working its way up the coast. And we've certainly given you a heads up several times if you're watching us tonight from Folly Beach and also James Island, Johns Island. It's going to be rotating on through eventually the Charleston area into Mount Pleasant. But right now of concern is this region right here, as we have seen a confirmed tornado, according to the National Weather Service, around Edisto Island just a little while ago. That was roughly at 12:58, so a few minutes ago. And these storms, tornadic potential storms, are moving off to the north. The warning goes until 1:30. At this point, we're not quite sure if it will be extended, but if it is extended, now we're jumping over into Dorchester County. So the lower portions of Dorchester County, right along 17A, from Walterboro almost all the way to Somerville, you also could see some of these stronger storms. I know you'll see some of the stronger storms. The question is, will you see any tornadic activity, which is really a possibility just because, again, confirmed tornado. All the other tornadoes that we've heard about were radar detected. In other words, basically a severe thunderstorm that could produce a tornado. But in this case, I do believe we have a confirmed tornado that has hit Edisto Island or was seen near Edisto Island just a little while ago. Brendan, Carolyn, anything new on your end in terms of the power outages? And we'll keep watch on the radar, too.
Of course, Rob, we also want to let folks know that we do have a crew headed to that scene, headed to Edisto Island right now to check out whether there is damage and what the situation is right now as a result of that confirmed tornado over Edisto Island.
And Rob, I have a question. By no means am I a meteorologist, but we're seeing here a lot of that moisture is coming back off the ocean. Is that conducive to development coming off there with the warmer temperatures and the warmer water?
Absolutely, because what happens is when you get these bands of rain moving on shore, when they travel over the water, guess what? There's no friction. There's no buildings, there's no trees to slow them down. So basically these bands come in with no problem whatsoever. But then once they hit land, guess what? They tend to slow down a little bit because now they encounter trees and they encounter buildings and the air slows down. But the air above, because basically up in the upper part of the storm, is still moving at a good clip. So what you have is you have a lot of movement of air, a lot of shear taking place, and that's exactly one of the ingredients you need to form some spin-up rotations that eventually could become tornadoes. So yes, that's what we're looking at, and these were our biggest concern. I remember back in 2017, Hurricane Irma, I think we had 4 confirmed tornadoes from Irma, and it was all because of this, all of these rotating bands that moved on through. So yes, Brendan, great question, and that is certainly something we're watching very closely. In addition to the area of concern, most concern right now is the tornado warning in Charleston County, where we understand a confirmed tornado over on Edisto Island.
We also talked about flooding, Rob. Thankfully, it is low tide right now, and it will be for the next hour or so. So that's certainly good news there as it pertains to flooding.
Yeah, absolutely. If the tide had been all the way in, this could be a different story. It's still going to be some flooding issues because this is torrential rain. At least it's moving. It's moving at a very good clip. But the problem is we get this rain in here, and guess what? There's more rain that's going to follow in, and we don't like that because that kind of what we call training. Just think of a long train, and it just keeps going and going and going and going until you get to the caboose. Well, we're not quite sure where the caboose is on this, so it looks like we're going to see that rain continue to move on shore.
Rob, we have a question from a viewer, and it's regarding the tornado. The question is the tornado producing line going to dissipate and that's why the warning ends, or will it keep moving and the warning move to another area?
That's a great question, and the reason the National Weather Service gives a timeline on warnings, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it might be, but generally the warning expires or is canceled because the storms have moved out of the warning area. So because they're moving so quickly, you can already see that these folks down here in the lower, in fact, wow, I just did that, and guess what? They shrunk the polygon. So that was our example that I mentioned. These folks down here would probably be out of the warning. Now the polygon is a little more basically compact, and that's the area of concern. Grace, can you do me a favor? Can you zoom in to this area right here, and let's see who's still in that warned area. Wamala Island looks like you're just outside, but Hollywood, so right there along 164 at Adams Run and 174 Jericho, so we're on 17, so that is still in the warned area, but you can clear. What's that? All right, where's that? Another confirmed tornado.
Oh boy.
Okay, confirmed tornado over Meggett. That's along 17. So confirmed tornado over Meggett. That's also in Charleston County. So again, we've had, if this verifies, Edisto Island and Meggett. Was it the same tornado? We're not sure. Was it 2 tornadoes? We're not sure. The survey the National Weather Service will do will answer those questions, but this is the area of concern. So guys, I'll let you take it away.
Well,
I'm
hearing a report, Rob, that we're seeing large trees that are blocking Highway 174. That's Steamboat Landing Road on Edisto Island right there. So if we're able to track something a little bit that way, if you want to do it by signs that way. But yeah, Highway 174, Edisto Island, we're told that I'm seeing reports of large trees blocking the highway in that area as well.
All right, I've zoomed in on 174. Sorry, Carolyn. You can see right
no,
there
I was just going to make
Barrowville.
the point, Rob, taking a look at the map of Meggett right now, I'm actually not seeing from Dominion Energy any indications of power outages, so hopefully people who are in that area and watching that tornadic activity, they are still safe and keeping cover. But again, not seeing any reports of any power outages in that area, but certainly that's an area we are watching very closely right now.
All right, I'm zoomed into Meggett. I've turned on our velocity product. Let's see if I can see any rotation that comes clear. Nothing really jumps out at me at this time, but that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And again, as we zoom in, we'll kind of give you a closer look at the very heavy rain. There's Hollywood, and there's Meggett right there. So again, as Grace mentioned, this came from the National Weather Service. observed tornado, a confirmed tornado located near Megget, over Megget, moving north at 45 miles an hour. So now Hollywood, we're awaiting some reports from you. If you're in the Manor Road area, also Ballpark Road, Metals Road, this is north of Hollywood, along 165 up to Ravenel. Because this storm is moving north at 45 and moving very quickly, if you haven't done so already, we encourage you to get into your safe place as quickly as you possibly can. And there will be some areas also cleared from this warning, which goes about 15 more minutes. But the best part is that it is moving so quickly, so you can kind of see exactly. Let me get the radar up.
I'm seeing some pictures right now of some trees down on 174.
All right, so 174 certainly does not surprise us, because you can see 174 is one of the main areas right here that we're watching, and that goes all the way down towards Edisto Island, where we initially saw that confirmed tornado. But Hollywood, all the way up beyond 17, since we did have a confirmed tornado also at Megget. Was it a different tornado, the same one? We're not quite sure yet. But again, there's a lot of activity going on. That goes off into the ocean. All right, Carolyn.
Just wanted to make the point, a big jump in terms of power outages in the area just over the last 10 to 15 minutes. We reported about 1,000 in Colleton County just about 30 minutes ago, and now up to 3,500. So that's pretty significant. Meanwhile, about 400 cases of power being out in Charleston County, and that's a significant change. So certainly we can see that line moving very close to this area right now, to our area, so people might really start to feel some of the effects and certainly see it as well.
Yeah, no doubt you're hearing it too, because there's a lot of lightning and obviously thunder. There's the lightning, and the sky is really lighting up. And Charleston, James Island, Johns Island, we've tried to kind of give you the heads up. It's coming your way, and we can't predict whether there will be a tornado warning for you, but we know the very heavy rain and some gusty winds coming just because we've had a history. That's why we study history and the weather. What's happened in the past can help us predict what's going to happen in the future. So we know this line, as it came through southeast Georgia, produced some very high wind gusts, some damage. We've had some damage reports. I know, Brendan, you were talking about some large trees down 174 all the way to Edisto Island. Walterboro looks like the heaviest rain is right to your east and north. And again, this is kind of moving up. Grace, let's zoom in right to this area here. I just want to see how far. And I think I hear thunder here at our TV station, so it's coming. So yes, this area, that's where the tornado warning is. A lot of those folks will be paired out of the warning, if not expired here very soon. There's a small area still in the warning, Jericho to Ravenel to Hollywood. Megget down to the south is where we saw a confirmed tornado. There was Megget, just popped up there. So if you move north, it moved over Hollywood, potentially to the north up Ravenel. Not saying the tornado stayed on the ground the entire time, but any of the rotation certainly was part of that, and that continues off to the north and moving north into right along 17, right along the 17 corridor. Grace, let's back out just a little bit and we'll give a look at what's going on. Josh Marther's just arrived, so Josh can give us really I guess, an eyewitness view of what happened because Johns Island about to really get it pretty good, Josh, and that's going to be moving up to the north and very quickly rotating on through into lower Dorchester County near Somerville all the way to Folly Beach. It looks like that's headed your way, and we'll hold together. There's the other cells, these other cells kind of congealing together that we've got to keep watch on also, because there's the potential that any of these could be spin-ups as well.
This system's really moving, Rob, it looks like.
Yeah, that's the best part. It is moving, but at the same time, anytime these things are moving that fast, a lot can happen in a short amount of time, and the lead time to prepare gets a little bit shorter just because of that reason. So it's 1:19, almost 1:20. This is about 10 more minutes in this warning. Clearly, you can see because it is moving so quickly, a lot of that warned area is not seeing at least any heavy precipitation. They've got light precipitation. But just to recap, this warning was issued just a few minutes ago because of a confirmed tornado at Edisto Island, and then we also had a confirmed tornado at Megget. Not saying it's the same tornado. It could be two different rotations, could be the same one. Basically, if you ever wondered about tornadoes and how they determine whether it was a tornado or not, the National Weather Service sends out their amazing crew of meteorologists. They survey the damage. They can look at the damage and determine, let's say, which way the trees fell. If a tree fell this way and this way, showed some rotation. If they both fell the same way, typically that means some kind of a straight line wind pushing them down in the same direction or so. But straight line wind damage can look a lot like tornado damage as well. Brendan, Carolyn, any updates on power outages? I know you guys are working hard over there.
Still looking at that steady climb in Colleton as well as Charleston counties. Those numbers going up very slowly. We saw a big jump over the last 15 to 20 minutes. And also Jasper County, another area that's still seeing a significant number of people without electricity right now. What's fortunate, of course, that a lot of people are sleeping through some of this. Right. Meanwhile, of course, as we're hearing about a confirmed tornado in Meggett as well as over Edisto Island, we want to make sure that people are safe and aware.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that. Take shelter if you need to do that. We also would say if anyone is kind of in a safe spot where they can maybe take a couple pictures of anything they're seeing, some video, and sending it to us. We'd like your eyes to be our eyes as well, so you can help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that some people, there are reports of trees being down. Josh is coming on board.
We just saw
right
Josh
now.
go right by there, so he is here and he's ready to go too, and that's good too. So we have the best in the business here, and that's great to see because we have certainly a serious situation there with 2 confirmed tornadoes right now, at least in our area.
Grace, any new developments?
Grace has some information.
There's damage at Elsa Island, large trees down, blocking Highway 174 at Steamboat Landing.
Okay, so large trees down, Steamboat Landing. We mentioned that, I think, in one of our earlier radar reports, 174. So this warning goes until 1:30, about 8 more minutes. There's a chance that it could be extended just because this batch of moisture, this finger of rain, if you will, thunderstorms still lifting to the north very quickly at about 45 or 50 miles an hour. So we'll be waiting to see if this expires and when it does, and if it does, if it's jumped up. So now then we'd be talking about lower Dorchester County. And keep in mind now, these cells have had a history of producing confirmed tornadoes and damage. Large trees down 174 Steamboat Landing Road. We've had a lot of reports even earlier of damage down towards Paris Island and Hilton Head. I think a big tree down at Sea Pines, and I got to call my brother and sister. They live on Sea Pines. Make sure they're okay because it really came rumbling on through. So, Grace, anything new as of this moment? Nothing new.
Rob, we have the luxury of looking at the DOT, Department of Transportation traffic cameras in here, and I'm looking up at some of the pictures here, and we can definitely see a show of lightning in the distance. The sky is certainly lighting up at this moment. Lots of lightning in the distance. Yeah,
no surprise here. You can see all the lightning. The sky's lighting up, and again, we hear the thunder here at our TV station. This is still the tornado warned area until, well, about another 7 minutes or so, until 1:30. Part of the area, because the cells are moving so quickly, the line is moving so quickly, this will be out of your area very soon. Our big concern then, because it has a history of producing tornadoes, is are we going to see this extended? Are we going to see a new warning in this area in lower portions of Dorchester County? So that's something we've got to keep watch on because not quite sure yet, but there's no doubt that this line is not losing much of its punch at all. In fact, it's still pretty strong, still producing very strong winds, no doubt about it. Also some damage, some tree damage. We've heard a lot about that. And torrential rains, and that's going to be moving right over downtown Charleston here very soon, all the way into lower Dorchester County. So, Josh, are you ready? Welcome to what's been going on here today.
You on board, Josh?
I'm on board.
All right.
All right, make sure his mic is on. So
it should be good. Everybody got me? Yeah, Rob, I heard you earlier ask about how things were when I was coming in.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is notable about this that we don't see a lot with tropical systems is the amount of lightning that is being produced by this line of thunderstorms, which allows you to kind of understand why we're in this situation that we're in right now with actual tornadoes being observed on the ground. Let's show you what's going on right now on Storm Team 2 radar, just to kind of let you know of what's been happening here over the last little while. As this line has been moving to the north and east around the center of the tropical system, which is still out over central Georgia. This is what we talked about. We started noticing this potential yesterday morning was getting fairly high. And that's why we went ahead I think it was about 10:30, 11 o'clock, Rob and I were on the phone, and we decided to go ahead and go with a higher risk of tornadoes and severe thunderstorms in our forecast, as we noticed that the atmosphere appeared to become a little more volatile here in the low country after midnight tonight and then through the morning hours, and this is exactly what you have. Now, a couple of things that I do want to note here off the coast, Rob. We've got 2 or 3 supercell thunderstorm structures that seem to be forming just to the south of the Charleston metro, and these appear to be moving right toward the Charleston County coast. If this continues, we may indeed see tornado warnings issued for the immediate Charleston metro. This is something we need to keep an eye on. The 2 storms that I'm talking about are these right out here over the water. You've got one right there and then another one right ahead of it. And these both appear to be racing toward the Charleston County coast. And if you just extrapolate that out in a straight line, that is the potential. The potential is there that these could move right into the metro, and we may have tornado warnings going up soon for the Charleston metro.
Yeah, at the very least, I mean, that's producing a lot of rain and some gusty winds. That's going to be moving right over, it appears, Folly Beach, maybe Sullivan's Island and the Isle of Palms. And in addition to that, we've got that large batch of rain that's just to the west of that area and east of Edisto Beach. Still, that tornado warning goes until 1:30, so a few more minutes right here. And these are the cells that Josh is talking about, and that's what we've been mentioning really all night, that more cells were developing. The rain bands were getting a little more intense as they've been getting closer. And right now, Wadmalaw Island, Hollywood, as we head out 17 from Johns Island, 174, we already have had reports of some large tree damage. Haven't seen too much, Josh, in the way of any velocity products. We've got strong winds. Typically, when you see the different shades of green, that also indicates that the winds are pretty strong out towards Kiowa Island. There's Seabrook up to Kiowa. So we've got some really strong winds at this particular time that are moving in along with those thunderstorms. So this product, as you see, towards and away, when you see the green, the air is coming towards the radar. The red is away. So basically, it just shows you that's where we get some rotation potentially. And when you look for that, what's called a couplet. We also have what's down here. This is that's interesting.
That's
right down.
That's the supercell that I
was
talking about off the
offshore.
coast.
Yeah, so that's the one that will be moving onshore. I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably a water spout right now, Josh, going on offshore that will be moving. These have been moving 45 to 50 miles an hour, and they are really moving at a good clip. So let's give you the heads up. It looks like if you extrapolate, it's probably somewhere in this area here, right around Folly Beach, between Folly Beach and Kiowa, and maybe even potentially moving in towards James Island and east of Johns Island as well.
Yeah, that's the one, and I wouldn't be surprised if they may go ahead with a warning on that one pretty quickly. An update, Rob, they are going to allow the warning in western Charleston County to expire at 1:30, so they are going to do that. But I would not be surprised if a new one comes out. Also on the latest velocity scan here that just came down, this area right around Kiowa and Seabrook, we need to keep an eye on that too. There, it looks like there's a little bit of weak rotation trying to form right on Seabrook and Kiowa. So if you're up with us and you're on Johns Island, Wadmalaw, and then eventually West Ashley, we need to keep a close eye on this. No warning on it yet, but it could be coming.
Yeah, and this warning again is still on the screen, and it will pop off here at 1:30, but it has since expired. So the National Weather Service has decided not to keep this in at least in action right now. But keep in mind now that the last time we saw one of these warnings expire, it didn't take long for the Weather Service to warn again on the additional warning. So we also have these 2 supercells offshore we're looking at. We're having that one right down here. And this is an area that has been in the soup, so to speak, with severe thunderstorms, potentially producing tornadoes. But now we have a couple of confirmed tornadoes. Not saying we did have 2 tornadoes, but Edisto Island and Meggett both confirmed tornadoes. Could have been the same one. Could have been one that stayed on the ground for a period of time. Potentially could have been 2. Is this something new that just popped up?
That's the same one.
That's the same one. Okay.
I was looking to see, look at the rotation signature on that to see if it was still holding together. There's still a little bit of weak rotation on that, so it may try to redevelop over Dorchester County. That's something we'll need to keep an eye on. Rob, one thing that I have noticed too is the abundance of lightning strikes right now out over Johns Island, Seabrook, Kiowa, headed toward James Island, stretching up into West Ashley. This is something that we don't like to see whenever we're in the type of atmosphere we're in. And then you can see this small area here coming right off of Seabrook and Kiowa that looks like there may be some very weak rotation. It's not intense. But it doesn't take much in tropical systems.
Yeah, and that really was about what we saw just a little while ago when we were looking at the inside of the storm for the Edisto Island. We saw this kind of a couplet, not really distinct, but it's certainly something, these two, the green and the red next to each other, showing some rotation and potentially a tornado. And that's exactly what we had earlier, Edisto Island and Megget, and now we're seeing it. Debris, don't see anything at this particular point, but we'll keep watch. This is the reflectivity. And yes, as Josh mentioned, look at all the lightning. That just shows us the electricity, the energy in this system, the storm itself, the line of storms is still maintaining its strength. It's not weakening. And here we are, normally would say, hey, it's 1:30 in the morning. The fact that we're seeing these storms this late at night, usually they feed off the daytime heating. But this is a different atmosphere. This is a tropical atmosphere. It doesn't matter if it's day or night. You've got a lot of energy going on. And I would say, Josh, the lightning strikes have started to multiply even more.
Yeah, and that's the reason I think we probably need to pay really, really close attention to that little area there coming off of Seabrook. Whenever you start to see lightning tick up like this, even in a normal situation, that always kind of gets our attention. But when we're in a tropical situation where lightning is so rare to begin with, it really does get your attention. Also, you can see that lead thunderstorm that was spinning like a top off of Folly Beach. It's getting close to the beach. This thing is racing in probably 50, 55 miles an hour, so about as fast as you would go down the highway. So if I'm on Folly Beach in downtown Charleston, no warning on this yet from the National Weather Service, but we are seeing definite signs of rotation there, so we need to keep an eye on that one too.
And I hear the thunder outside of our TV station. Brennan, Carolyn, any update from you guys on power outages? I know you had a chance to check.
Yeah, we're watching that very closely, and the numbers are climbing very slowly. Again, some of those areas, Colleton, Jasper County, and Charleston County, that number is slowly going up. But right now, speaking of what's happening in Charleston County, we want to go down to the city of Charleston. That's where Riley Benson is right now. Riley's been there all afternoon watching conditions deteriorate, and we want to find out how things look right now.
Yeah, Riley, we know we're looking at the cameras here that we have the luxury of looking at in the studio right now, and we see a lot of lightning out there right now. Talk about the conditions you're seeing.
Well, yeah, Brendan, Carolyn, we're just off of Ashley Avenue in the medical district. We actually moved underneath a porch, a covered porch here because of the conditions. We're seeing a lot of lightning right now in this particular area downtown. You can hear the thunder right now. The rain, the good thing, the rain isn't coming down too terribly heavy right here in this part of the downtown area, so we aren't really seeing any flooding. Of course, this is in the medical district where flooding is really prone to happen, but like I mentioned, the one thing that's really catching our eye, and I've heard Rob and Josh both talk about it a couple times, is the lightning. We're seeing a lot of lightning overhead here in the medical district. Like I said, we did take cover. We moved into a porch area here because of that. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. Like I said, the rain isn't very heavy right now. It's kind of just a very steady light rain, but it's kind of concerning maybe to see as much lightning as we are seeing in the skies here in this part of downtown. But like I mentioned, we had been driving around a little bit ago, hadn't really seen any flooding on downtown roads, which was the main concern, if you remember from my earlier reports, for City of Charleston officials. We haven't seen that to this point. Water is pooling on the roads in some areas here in the medical district, but what a light show we're seeing, guys, right now here in downtown Charleston. Reporting live in downtown Charleston, Riley Benson, count on 2.
All right, well, let's take a look at that right now. Riley's just saying, and I've said we do have this a Department of Transportation, the DOT cameras throughout the low country that we show you every day when we take a look at traffic and weather conditions. And you certainly can see here, if you keep an eye on this camera for some time, you can see right there the lightning, the show that we are seeing right now.
Yeah, quite a light show tonight, and this is going to continue for some time. One of the reasons Riley had to move to an area that's a little bit safer, but looking at these Department of Transportation cameras, clearly we are seeing that the sky is electrified tonight. And of course, this is a situation that is very, very serious, and we want people to stay off the roads because of the risk of lightning strikes. And so, Rob, this is something that, what is this indicative of as we watch the weather tonight? Is this something that's surprising to you? And What told you that this is something that might happen, a high number of lightning strikes?
Well, I think basically experience. When you see any kind of thunderstorms going on like this, even in a tropical situation, you're going to get a lot of the electrical show, the light show, if you will. And that just shows us there's a lot of energy, a lot of electricity, a lot of moving around inside of the cloud, particles bumping next to each other. We always say, you know, the Boy Scouts, you could put two sticks together and cause a fire. Well, in a cloud, you've got ice particles, dust particles, you've got sea salt, all this rubbing together, creating static electricity. And the result of that is the lightning that we're seeing right now. And we are definitely hearing the thunder. I also noticed on those cameras, in addition to the rain and the lightning, basically the cameras are moving side to side. So they're gusty winds that are blowing around as well. So right now, here's the radar scan, and this is the heaviest rain by far. This is right down in central Charleston County, and it's about to move into Charleston. So Johns Island, we're getting it for you right now. You are really seeing the heavy rain and the lightning. Folly Beach, all the way down to Wadmalaw Island. Looks like Wadmalaw, Hollywood, that's the back edge of least of this heavy band of rain. But even though everything is moving in from the ocean, also, the big mass of moisture is moving north and east very quickly, so this is of concern at this particular time. Thank you, Josh. Number of strikes, 66 going on. There's a new tornado warning. Tornado warning just issued. You saw that live pop up right in the box. That is because of that cell that we pointed out offshore. It is moving onshore, I would think, probably a very, very fast clip. Right now, tornado warning, Charleston County. This goes until 2 a.m. So now we're another 24 minutes or so that we have this tornado warning. And this is because, so Folly Beach, you're under a tornado warning. Looks like Kiowa Island, you're just on the cusp of that warning. That extends all the way north, all the way up to 30. There's the James Island connector. So James Island, all the way, here's Folly Road. So Folly Road to James Island connector, this is where that warning is at this particular time, and it goes until 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's pull out just a little bit there, see if we see any rotation. There is some rotation right there, and there is the couplet. This is a distinct signature on the radar that basically we've talked about when you put the product on the air, what we call the storm relative velocity, towards the radar, away from the radar, and right there, when these two are right next to each other, that shows some rotation. So this is most likely a water spout, no doubt about it. It's about to make landfall. A lot of water spouts do fall apart once they reach the friction of land, but not all do. But because of that, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning. So we're going to extend out saying it's moving about 45 miles an hour. Folly Beach County Park at 149. Charleston Executive out on Johns Island at 155. Charleston 202. We'll see if it gets right into the Charleston area. Charleston Maritime Center, that's downtown. And then Myers at 206. So there's kind of a rundown of areas that are in the path of this couplet, of this rotation that potentially right now, most likely a water spout, could transfer over land as a land-based tornado. So Josh, anything, you've got something over there?
Yeah, another thing that I wanted to point out to you, Rob, right there in front of you, this area that we were watching that was coming off of Kiowa that is now moving on to Johns Island, the couplet on that is also tightening up. We may have a new tornado warning coming soon. This would be
right
outside.
Here? Or this one right
that
here?
one right there.
Yeah, right there, okay.
Yeah, and there's another, well, you just pointed out another one there
so you got
to
a
the
couple.
north of Seabrook. So we may have two that we're watching that are not warned on right now. So we gave you the first heads up on this one that's rolling onto Folly Beach and Kiowa about 15 minutes ago. We saw this one coming in off the coast, and we may be able to give you another lead time on these that are coming in right now off of Johns Island and Wadmalaw Island. Now, again, we don't have warnings on those, but here's the thing with tropical setups. These come very, very quickly. They're usually very transient areas of rotation, and they can spin up because the air above us is already howling with wind shear. So it doesn't take much for one of these to spin up. So what I would do right now is if I'm in lower Charleston County, I'd go ahead and start getting my action plan ready if you're not in the warning now, because you may be soon. We've got the checklist ready, Rob. We've got the intense wind shear. We're seeing signs of rotation on radar, and we're seeing an increase in lightning strikes. When you've got all of those three things together, that's a sign that something may be coming here. And we thought that was coming with this one near Folly Beach, Kiowa to James Island. Now we may have this one coming too, back toward Seabrook, Kiowa, up toward Johns Island and Wadmalaw.
Yeah, no, excellent, Josh. Thank you very much. And again, so Josh is mentioning these two. We have another one offshore, just offshore Folly Beach to the south and southwest. This was a cell that we were picking up right there. You can see it. So it's moving, we guesstimate 45, 50 miles an hour. And if it does move at that kind of speed, a lot of you are in harm's way potentially, because based on the couplet, I would have to say that is a waterspout. The question is, does it transfer over to land? Tornado warning has been issued for that possibility. So Folly Beach County Park, we all know where that is, Folly Beach. Riverland, so we're out on James Island, Charleston Executive, Charleston Maritime Center, and Myers. So we've had a number of tornadoes reported, some confirmed tornadoes, Edisto Island earlier, Meggett earlier. We've had reports of some damage, some large trees down Steamboat Landing Road in that area along 174. So it looks like it's still very pronounced, Josh. And
yeah, it is. It's about to move on shore.
It's about to move on shore. So let's zoom and see if we have any kind. I'm not sure if we have any street levels there that we can look at.
That would be near the ocean course.
Yeah, right there. There's Kiowa Island. So that's right there at the point. But right there, okay, High Dunes Lane over to Ocean Course Drive and Summer Islands Lane. If this holds together, it's going to move, appears right on top of you. There is the actual rotation. Again, drifting, or not drifting, but it's moving very quickly up to the north. So on Kiowa Island, be careful and get to your safe place right now, which is the lowest part of your structure. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Get into some kind of an interior room away from windows, and that's the best place to be right now. And it is just about, this area here, just about to move on shore, and that warning does extend all the way to the James Island connector, so almost into downtown Charleston, and there's 17. So get your bearings going out of town, and there's that other one. So if you're on Johns Island right now, be careful, because this one's moving very quickly to the north also. This one has not been warned on, Josh, but as you pointed out, it certainly could be. It's showing that signature on our velocity product on the radar.
It is, and it seems to be almost as intense of a signature right now based off of what we're seeing as the one that is rolling onto Kiowa at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Basically, the distinct colors, the separation there between the green and the red, and that's the great thing about Doppler radar. We've talked about it. You can look inside the storm and dissect the storm, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're looking inside the storm. We know where the reflectivity is. We know where the heavier rains are, but you also have to look inside and see what the winds are doing. And if you've got winds coming towards the radar and away, and that's what this is showing us, coupled together, we call it a couplet, then that is usually a signature that there is rotation. And this is really right on the coast. Again, most likely a waterspout. Any updates from the National Weather Service, Grace? So nothing new at this particular point, but again, it is going to be moving on shore of Kiowa Island. We pointed out some landmarks, some streets. There's 171 Folly Road getting you all the way to Folly Beach. Maybank Highway coming out of James Island, heading down towards Bohicket, and eventually over towards Kiowa. So Brendan, Carolyn, check in with you guys, see if you have any additional information for us now.
Well, we're just checking out. Obviously, we're all over social media right now. We know like almost 4,000 people in County and in Carleton County are without power. That is the big story that we see right now as far as that. But we're trying to pop up that Folly Beach cam that we see so beautifully every day when we're taking beauty shots right now. Maybe that can tell us a little something about the weather conditions out there. We can continue maybe to look at the Department of Transportation cameras as well, giving us a bird's eye view of what everyone else is seeing out there as well.
Yeah, and we are still watching those cameras very closely and taking a look at the lightning strikes. I mean, make sure that you, in fact, try to stay away from windows and things like that. But we are still wanting to find out what's happening in downtown Charleston. Riley Benson is right there right now. Fortunately, we know that there was low tide just a little while ago, and so that may help eliminate some of the problems with flooding in downtown Charleston. But let's go back to Rob and take a look at what you're seeing right now in that area of Folly Beach and James Island, Rob.
Yeah, just to recap, guys, tornado warning just issued a few minutes ago, goes until 2 o'clock. There it is. We picked this out offshore. Very typical. We had those rotating bands. I mentioned Hurricane Irma. I remember that distinctly. In fact, Josh and I were standing right here in this spot back in 2017 as we were watching these supercells move on shore that eventually did confirm 4 tornadoes. But these cells are moving very quickly to the north, coming in from the ocean, no doubt a waterspout, transferring over into a land-based tornado, possibly as it moves over land. A lot of times they enter the friction of the land and they tend to fall apart, generally very weak for the most part, but Charleston Executive, so it's right in the path right there of this potential cell. Centerville, St. Andrews, Cooper River Marina, North Charleston. So that's taking it pretty far up to the north if it does hold together, and that is really a possibility. So something we'll be watching. This other area right here is certainly concerning us also because it is showing the same kind of signature that the other cell was that was warned on. And this is also most likely moving to the north, and now you're talking about over on Johns Island. So Fenwick Crossroads, that seems to be a rotation very close to where you are. And where you see the different shades of green, the dark and the light, no doubt on the velocity product, we're talking about some very high winds that are moving on through, ultimately creating some power outages as we've noted. So this cell right here that hasn't been warned on, but it's moving north. So we're telling you, giving you a heads up on Johns Island at 149, Humbert Woods at 145, so that's right now. Ashley Heights at 203, Goose Creek 208, and Somerville 211. If it holds together and it's moving so very quickly, there's not a lot of time to react. So we encourage you now to get ready, get prepared just in case. And then we have another area right here. Josh, is that the same one? No, that's a different one.
That's near Somerville on 17A,
yeah, so there's
Cottageville and Somerville.
Yeah, so there's another couplet right there showing up nicely, the signature of the winds coming in and going away. So there's a lot going on in that large area of precipitation. Josh, let's go back to the reflectivity just to kind of, and there it is. You could clearly see why we've got cells that potentially could be tornadic just because you've got a lot of electricity, you've got a lot of heavy rainfall. And here it comes, downtown Charleston. We knew it's coming. It's going to move right into the harbor. It is moving right into the harbor, right over the peninsula, Daniel Island, Mount Pleasant, all the way up the river, either the Cooper River, the Ashley River, even the Wando River. Eventually, it's going to be moving your direction. So right here, as we move out towards Sullivan's Island, there's that cell there, all the way to Isle of Palms. That's going to be moving up to your area. So it's going to be a rough and tumble next few hours. And I guess in a whole scheme of things, maybe running a little bit earlier than anticipated, but we really felt this was going to be an overnight event from 11 o'clock until 5 o'clock in the morning. Josh?
Storm Prediction Center in Norman in Oklahoma, they're getting ready, looks like they're getting ready to draw a new tornado watch, which will likely be extended in time through the morning. Not sure exactly where that will be for us, so that may update, because I think we're through 5 a.m., right?
5 o'clock.
So this may go past sunrise, and we're also watching the Charleston Metro now because it seems like a lot of parameters are starting to come together for an enhanced risk of tornadoes inside the Charleston Metro, up through Berkeley County, moving up into Georgetown County here over the next hour or so.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Can you take a look at that, Rob?
It's right under there.
I know that's on one of our computers.
on Weather
Right
One.
there.
I just put it on Weather One, so if you guys want to take it, there's Folly Beach live. You can put that up behind Rob if you've got a second.
Yeah, there it is. That's a live camera over on Folly Beach, and you can see the rain. You can't see much else but the rain, but it is really coming down out on Folly Beach, no doubt about it. So that's the camera of the beach, and you can clearly see why as we kind of show you Folly Beach right there. And still, there's the rotation. That is what was, and it looks like it's jumped up a little bit, Josh, so it's right there. So now it's on land, so it's moved so very quickly. But this now is the rotation that we have been tracking that came onshore, most likely as a waterspout. Basically, a tornado and a waterspout are the same thing, except for the fact one forms over the water, one forms over land, but once they transfer over, then it becomes a tornado, and that's exactly what we think may be happening. So here we are. My eyes are what is that?
It's Fort Trenham Road.
Okay, yeah.
Hunt Road.
I'm in the box. It's a little smaller now.
Yeah.
I'm getting older. So basically we can see Miller Hill, Riverland. So that's the Charleston Executive Airport. So we've been kind of giving you a heads up and a timeline exactly when this might impact you. And you can clearly see that up to George Griffith Boulevard, North Grimble Road. Here we are over on James Island, Centerville, 171. There's Riverland, so no doubt you're near the Muni course. Up Folly Road we go, heading into James Island. There's Parrott Point. So it kind of gives you some geographical bearings on exactly where this cell is. And there's the rotation that came onshore, and it really was moving along, probably, as we said, 45 or 50 miles an hour. And boy, is it quite the noise show here going on at our TV station. Another little couplet right there. We're checking that one out. There's a lot going on, and at the very least, The rainfall falling in downtown Charleston, or about to fall in downtown Charleston, is torrential rainfall. So even though the tide has generally been out for a while, there's a chance that we certainly could see some flooding just because it's coming so fast and so furious. Here's a live look you see in the other box. That's our rooftop cam. And can't really, obviously it's raining or about to rain in Mount Pleasant, but at least we've got some visibility. I think the visibility will be reduced quite a bit as we get into the next few minutes or so as that rain moves onshore into downtown and into Mount Pleasant. Josh, I'll let you kind of give your analysis on what you see here.
Sure. What we're watching right now is this area of rotation over on Johns Island. It looks like if you're in the River Road area around the Charleston Executive Airport, go into the intersection of River Road and Maybank. We know where that is. There's the Food Lion there. You've got the CVS there. If you're right in that particular spot, anywhere in that general neighborhood, we probably need you to be in your safe place now, as it looks like this pretty intense rotation. On radar, we can't see if it's doing damage. We can't see if there's anything on this right now, but the signature is strong enough to say, hey, we need to be paying attention to this one. We've also got the other one too that we're watching that is now getting ready to cross Savannah Highway. That's on the other side of Johns Island, getting ready to move into West Ashley. That one is something that we need to keep an eye on as well, because it's still showing some signs of rotation. We've got another one too up in the Somerville area that just crossed Highway 17A. This is up in the Givens area. Excuse me, not Givens, I apologize. Ridgeville to Givens down to Holly Ridge. So just make sure that you're keeping an eye on this one too up here. We also have other signatures that we're watching off the coast, and these are the ones that Rob and I were talking about earlier that we still need to keep an eye on, because this is going to go on for the next 2, possibly 3 hours as this shifts up the coast. Right now, the highest threat for tornadoes is going to be generally from the Charleston Metro northwest to Somerville to St. George and points north and east, and it's going to work its way north and east through the morning hours. The only tornado warning we have right now officially from the National Weather Service is the one that includes Johns Island and James Island that would also go up into parts of West Ashley. But again, this may change. We may see additional tornado warnings issued, and we need to be prepared for that. And I still say that if you're up in the West Ashley area right now, you need to go ahead and be making your plan for when that tornado warning is issued and for what you're going to do, because there's a strong possibility that may occur, because we're watching 2 distinct signatures right now. Carolyn, is there something going on?
Yeah, we just want to let folks know that a lot more people in the Charleston County area without electricity right now, more than 1,000. That number still holding at about 3,000 in Colleton County. But this is certainly consistent with what's being described right now. Some of the areas of rotation and some of the effects that you're talking about right now, Josh, in this West Ashley area, parts of Johns Island, James Island as well. So right now, more than 1,000 people in Charleston County without electricity. That number is still at about 3,000 in Colleton County.
And obviously tornado is our main concern right now, but we do know there is also a flood advisory up for many areas in the low country, right, Rob?
Yeah, that's right. Look at, again, we've got the kind of the timer on it, if you will, when this rotation potentially will be on top of you. And Miller Hill at 156, that's coming up in a couple of minutes or so. Pinecrest, Pierpont, of course, we're talking about major population centers now as we move into North Charleston, Hanahan, and Goose Creek. And that is if this cell holds together. This warning is expected to expire here in about 7 minutes or so at 2 o'clock. And then the National Weather Service will have to make a decision whether to extend it back to the north, which they may do, because clearly there's still some signature of rotation down there. They came off the coast from the ocean onshore and now moving right over Johns Island and heading to the north at a very, very fast clip. 45, 50 miles an hour, no doubt about it. In addition to that, we've got tremendous rain. We're also watching this little area out here that is yet to move onshore, potentially could be moving onshore, maybe as a water spout that turns into a land-based tornado, Josh.
And that's the one that we pointed out about 20 minutes ago that was well offshore, that we said, hey, might want to give you a heads up inside the city of Charleston, and points a little bit farther north and east. It looks like the rotation on that one has come down just a little bit, which is some good news. But we still want to keep an eye on that, because these can briefly spin up, as we've seen multiple times. And the thing is that you got to understand about where we are right now. We're not any longer just talking about possible tornadoes, Rob. We've already had confirmed tornadoes on the ground, so we know that Elsa is capable of producing this. We first noticed this yesterday morning about 10 o'clock, 10:30 is when we were on the phone going, okay, this has got that look. And you can always look at these tropical systems, and you see where they're coming onshore, where they're going to be moving in relation to our area. And it put us right in the pipeline for these thunderstorms to roll in off the Atlantic. And that's why we have that enhanced tornado risk this morning. And this is not ending anytime soon. This is probably going to go for the next 2 hours. A lot of things, too, that we've noticed, Rob, over the years is tropical systems seem to have a flare-up at about this time of morning when it comes to tornado warnings. I see it all the time when we're covering them in other areas. When I walk in the building about an hour from now, you have a flurry of tornado warnings, and it lasts through about 6 or 7 a.m. And then once the sun comes up, things kind of back off a little bit usually. And then you see another flare up in the mid to late afternoon, then it backs off. There are a lot more tornado warnings on the map this time here in the last hour than there were, I would say, 4 or 5 hours ago. And that's another sign of just how you can kind of look ahead and predict that this could be a bad setup, and that's what we have right now. We've already had confirmed tornadoes, and now we have another possible tornado moving across Johns Island and James Island. But I can say it does look like the signature is starting to come down just a little bit, which is some good news.
Yeah, very good news. And what's interesting is, if I remember correctly, we talked to the National Weather Service, and they say generally in an average year they may issue, I believe the number was 12 tornado warnings total. And now here we've had a couple at least, maybe potentially more, as we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it looks like maybe that signature not as pronounced as it was earlier. But we have other areas who are watching this one right here. That looks to be right along 61. There's Dorchester Road. There's Lambs all the way into North Charleston as we're moving around 526 heading towards the Boeing plant. But again, this one right here we'll keep watch on. But yes, hopefully the signature that was very pronounced, it was coming offshore from the offshore waters back onshore, is starting to weaken just a little bit. At least the signature is. We still looks like we have some pretty strong winds there, and then we've got a couple other ones. That one right there we'll watch, and another one we'll watch too, also that are moving onshore along with these bands of showers and thunderstorms. Josh, let's go back to the reflectivity and see what it looks like basically on top of that as we again extrapolate out. Once again, kind of crossing the same area that just got impacted potentially by that other tornado warning out towards Fenwick, Crossroads, Limehouse Station, Johns Island, City Marina, and Keel Island. So here is basically what we're looking at. And you can see it's hard to see if that's a little inflow notch there at all, but that is about where that one rotation showing up offshore. And this is the torrential rain. This is moving onshore, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. As we kind of alluded to, it's almost like a train that goes on and on and on and on. Not sure where the caboose is going to be because it's just a continuous stream of rain. And even though these are moving very quickly, there's plenty more where this came from that's got to fill in too. So, and there are sometimes that there's more out there that we don't see because the radar only goes out so far. So when it comes within radar range, then we get to see it again. Rotation, that's one of the products that we use. And there is, again, the storm winds, the storm relative velocity. So still a lot we're watching. A little concerned about that one right there because that one also has the signature of its predecessor that did move onshore potentially as from a waterspout to a tornado. Josh?
They are going to expire that tornado warning for Johns Island, James Island. As we said about 10 minutes ago, we noticed the rotation signature beginning to ease up on that one. That one is going to be allowed to expire in 1 minute. Other things, though, that we're watching, we've got two that are off the coast. It's going to move. One is going to move in about where this last one did near Kiowa and then move up through Johns Island, James Island area. Another one we're watching is actually moving right over Charleston Harbor into the Mount Pleasant area right now. There's a weak rotation signature on this one just to the south of Sullivan's Island. We've got another area of concern that we're watching in North Charleston. This is crossing now Highway 61 west of the Ashley, about to go up toward the Dorchester Road area between North Charleston and Somerville. And then we have another one northwest of Somerville, and then another one that is off the coast about 20 miles east-southeast of Folly Beach. And if that one holds together, that one could move onshore somewhere around the Isle of Palms, maybe up toward DeWeese, in that area. That would be at about 20 minutes from now. So we've got multiple areas, even though the warning for the Charleston Metro at this point for the Johns Island, James Island area has expired. We have new warnings that may come out. Any one of these thunderstorms could produce enough rotation to produce a tornado warning. And another thing too that I'm noticing, Rob, that just over the past half hour or so is if you look back at the band that surrounds the center of Elsa, the center is up here south of Augusta. There's a very nasty band that is developing here too, back toward I-95. So we've got one that's moving through right now that's been producing the occasional tornado warning, but a secondary line is beginning to form back here, and it looks like it's trying to gain strength. What's happening is there's a ribbon of instability that is coming in off the Atlantic. You got to think about it this way. A tropical storm is pulling air toward its center because everything is rising in the middle. So if the center is up here just to the south and east of Augusta, all the unstable air, remember water temperatures are in the 80s out here over the Atlantic. That means dew points are in the upper 70s to around 80. That is rich tropical air. The cloud base is very low to the ground. You have intense wind energy coming above that, and that creates the spin. All you have to do is cause some sort of a little bit of a change in the terrain, any kind of friction, and you've got a quick spin up, and that's why we're getting these warnings so rapid fire without a lot of notice. So it's pulling all of this instability in toward the center of the storm, and it just so happens that the low country is the area that's right in the line of fire of that, Brendan and Carolyn, and that's why we're seeing these tornado warnings rapid fire, one right after the other. But so far, we're quiet right now. It's 2:01. Hopefully we can get a little bit of a break, but so far we have no active warnings at this point.
All right, and that is the good news right there, Josh. We certainly appreciate that, and Rob as well. We have seen video coming out of places like Port Royal. We have seen places coming out of Edisto Island, some damage there, trees down, covering roadways. This is the video right here. You can see the lightning strikes there. That is our camera from Folly Beach. We use it every day to show how beautiful it is out there on Folly Beach. But right now, you can see the extent of the rain, and in the background, it's lit up occasionally by lightning as well. You can see the beach chairs down there in the lower part of the screen.
Yeah, really taking a beating right now. Meanwhile, we are looking at our rooftop, and you can see quite the lightning show is happening tonight. This has been going on for quite a while. Rob and Josh explaining why this might be happening right now. This is the amount of electricity that is in the air right now, but quite the show over the low country of South Carolina. Meanwhile, Kate Prestak has been traveling throughout the low country, covering various areas. Right now, she's in the Jedburgh area. Let's go to Kate for more information on how it looks right there right now. Kate?
Hey, Carolyn, right now we are on Jedburgh Road, as you said, over in Somerville, and this is probably the heaviest that we've seen it the entire night. I'm by the way, just so you can see a little bit more of what this is looking like. Now, the wind has really picked up as well as the rain, and now earlier tonight there was a warm gust of wind that we were detailing. It has since become a lot colder and a much more constant breeze. We've also been seeing a lot more lightning, and as you guys have been detailing back at the station today, a lot of that thunder that you guys said was shaking the station is also been shaking most of the areas that we have been tonight, as well as that lightning really has been lighting up the skies as we traveled over here. Now, as far as roads goes, there have been actually a lot more cars than we would have anticipated that have been going on I-26 West when we did come up here from Hutchinson Square earlier, and it was a little bit tricky for many. I saw a lot of cars that were pulled over. You can see right now there is a car that is actually going up, a truck rather, that's going up. They are taking it a lot slower than previously, as we had detailed in Somerville a while ago when we were in Hutchinson Square. However, this is a lot better for this type of condition. If you are driving, be sure to be going at a safe time, at a safe motion. And of course, as we said, this is still really an active kind of rainfall that we're seeing. This is the heaviest we've seen. This is the hardest gust of wind so far. I mean, we are literally being pelted at this moment. And you can just see that rainfall really coming down and coming almost in a sideways motion off of the cars and throughout. So far, we haven't really seen too much major flooding or anything. I know earlier Brendan had mentioned some power outages in Somerville's neighbor, Ridgeville. Here at the Sphinx Station on Jedburgh, we haven't noticed that. There's still a lot of lights when we had left Somerville. The lights were still on over there. Obviously, there are a lot of areas that have been impacted by those outages, but as we continue to monitor this area over here, we will be keeping you updated as far as how these conditions are going through. For now, live in Somerville, I'm Kate Prestak. Count on 2.
Yeah, quite the light show and a lot of rain coming down. And I'm just hearing from my sister, West Ashley, a lot of rain, wind kind of moving the house around a little bit.
Yeah, it sure is. And, you know, Rob, you were right on the money here. You said for the last couple of days, this was going to be an overnight event. This was going to be coming down at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. We saw just a couple of hours ago, things were calm. No wind, no rain, nothing. But now the game has certainly changed.
And I understand. I mean, everybody was kind of looking around. I was looking around saying, okay, is it coming? Is it coming? And we kind of knew that the timing would be a certain, time after midnight, most likely till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So obviously, this is kind of coming into play that it is an overnight situation. It's going to last for a while longer. We were just talking about the potential now because we have so much heavy rain that flooding all the way up and down the I-26 corridor, and you can clearly see why. There's a lot of rain. This is, in a way, a blessing that's happening at night because nobody's really on the road. But then the curse is the fact that when you get tornadoes at night, it's a lot scarier, as we well know. So there's a lot of lightning still, a lot of electricity. There's still a lot of heavy rain yet to move on shore. It's moving over downtown and Mount Pleasant, over towards Daniel Island, coming into, again, Isle of Palms and Sullivan's Island. And that's all going to be shifting into Berkeley County. So part of Berkeley County has been getting wet. Now you're going to get really wet, no doubt about it. Josh?
Tornado watch has been expanded now to include Williamsburg and Georgetown County through 9 a.m.
Okay, through 9 a.m. So Georgetown and Williamsburg, you're now under a tornado watch until 9 a.m. As far as we know, the one that was issued earlier goes until 5 a.m. That hasn't been extended yet, but it may, just based on the current radar trends and what we expect. Here it is just after 2 o'clock, and we've still got probably hours left of some very heavy rain. And this does go all the way offshore, so it extends offshore by probably 40, 50 miles or so. And we've been looking at all these little areas. So when you get the green and in this case, purple together, that shows that there's probably some rotation, a water spout of some sort. This one seems to be maybe the most pronounced one, in addition to this one to the east of there. So we could see a situation where another potential waterspout land-based tornado could move onshore. So Miller Hill 220, Charleston Executive at 219, Myers at 230, and North Charleston 233. We certainly give you the heads up because these cells are moving so quickly. They've been moving 40, 50, 55 miles an hour, so it doesn't take long for them to get from point A to point B right on top of you, and that's what we're trying to warn you. This one's offshore, but it has the potential of moving maybe over Kiowa, towards Kiowa, and then moving into Johns Island eventually, and then possibly heading up to North Charleston. There's 526, and this is, again, based on a very, very quick movement. Brendan and Carolyn, I'll send it over to you. I know you guys are kind of checking our email and our social media for any information.
Yeah,
Rob, we got new numbers.
Yeah, you do. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, we've got new numbers from Charleston County, more than 1,200 power outages right now for Colleton County. That number is at about 4,500. Dorchester County, only 18 right now. So looking at those numbers, we've seen this steady climb throughout the evening, and it's also certainly what you're seeing right now as we take a look at some of these cameras, some of these areas right now really being hit with a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, and certainly the wind whipping around.
Yeah, the National Weather Service reported gusts down off of Hilton Head 81 miles an hour here just about an hour ago. So that was something that was a little bit surprising to me. But we've talked about a lot about the flooding as well, and this rain certainly will not help. We are graced with low tide. I think dead low is just around 1 o'clock this morning, so the tide is coming in, but it's still low tide, so it certainly helps when it comes to flooding in our area, which is always a concern when you have this much rain this quick.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the cameras around the area right now, like the Department of Transportation camera, the area of Folly Beach right now. Actually, this camera is...
That's I-26, mile marker 220 right there. You can see that's I-26 Romney
Okay, so
Street.
that's Romney Street right now, and we certainly will probably see a few lightning strikes. That's what we've been watching all evening. We also want to show you from our rooftop as well as on Folly Beach right now. This is the scene from our Channel 2 rooftop, and as you can see, once again, a lot of lightning happening right now. We've been seeing that all evening. We also want to show you from...
the video from Cane Hoy.
The video from Cane Hoy area right now. Let's take a look at that.
Yep, this is video that's been sent in to us, and you can see just in the distance the lightning goes off and everything lights up. It looks dark. It is dark. It's the middle of the night, but certainly the lightning is, as you can see right there, very dramatic there. And you can see on the radar that we've seen just the amount and the intensity of the lightning. And this is the Folly Beach camera that we're seeing right here. You can't see anything really because of the downpour. As they zoom out, you can see the lawn chairs, you can see the ocean in the distance, but certainly an event out there on Folly right now where they're seeing a lot of wind and a lot of rain.
All right, and we're going to go back to Rob right now. And Rob, we're still looking at some of the changes. This is pretty consistent with what you would thought would happen and also the timing of all of this.
Yeah, what's amazing is if you followed along with us, we used a computer model, the HRRR, what we call high resolution rapid refresh. And I'll tell you what, when you look at what it told us was going to happen and what is happening, it was right on the money as we've had these waves of rain. And this one is the one we're concerned with now, but we're also concerned with another one that's starting to really take shape, and that is moving through Walterboro right now. That also will be rotating in from the southwest to the northeast. So we've got 2 rounds of rain. This one right over Charleston, continuing all the way off Folly Beach, down to Kiowa, wrapping around towards Edisto Beach, and then another one that's moving right over Hilton Head and Beaufort, all the way up to Walterboro along Interstate 95. That also will be moving on through. So the bottom line is it's going to be a long night, folks, and we anticipated this would be an overnight situation up until 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and it looks like that, in fact, is going to be the case. We also have this pretty strong cell right there. That's going to be moving right over, looks like Wild Dunes on the Isle of Palms, right there at the point, maybe up towards Capers and Dewey's, potentially up into the Bowles Bay area, central Charleston County. Boy, a lot of rain over Daniel Island, Mount Pleasant, getting a lot of rain extending over towards downtown Charleston, out to Somerville. Somerville, that's very heavy rain on your eastern side and also coming in from your south and southwestern side. So it looks like out towards Knightsville. So Grace, see if you can zoom in. Let's zoom in right here into downtown Charleston, and we'll see which areas are really getting hit pretty hard. There is, of course, Daniel Island. There's downtown Charleston. And clearly you can see it's moving right from the harbor over the peninsula. There's East Bay Street as we come out towards St. Andrews. So you're out heading out 61 and 17. There is 104. And again, right along the main drag in downtown Charleston, that's where we're seeing tremendous rains at this particular time. All right, Grace, let's back out just a little bit and we'll there's Sullivan's Island you saw there getting some heavy rain, and another batch of rain that will be pressing on in across Wild Dunes and Isle of Palms. More rain over Folly Beach, Seabrook down to Kiowa. And as we've been talking about, another round is potentially headed this way. This is really very similar to how this first wave came in. It came in from our south and southwest and moved very quickly, even though the individual line of storms is moving from the south to the north. The whole area is moving very quickly off to the east. Josh?
Rob, what we're watching right now is exactly what you were talking about, that last line. We're seeing those showers. What's funny about that, if you look at those two, there's no lightning with that last one.
That's true.
The one back there. What's going to be interesting to see is as it begins to move to the north toward the Charleston metro, where we've got that area of instability coming right in off the Atlantic, do we start to see the lightning strikes flare up with that, thus yet again getting us into a situation where that one could produce isolated tornadoes? That's something we're going to be watching. That would be at about an hour and a half from now. I still think, though, that any of these coming in off the Atlantic could spin up at any point. But right now, we seem to be in at least a little bit of a time to where things are calming down for a bit, which is some good news.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of there's still some lightning out here, but not as many as we've seen. So Carolyn and Brendan, we'll send it back over to you guys. I know you continuing to need information. Our news team is staffed and ready to go.
We are going to be with you throughout the night. We will come back as weather permits, whether we need to come back and tell you more, because there are no tornado warnings right now, but we are dealing with heavy rain and high winds.
That's right. And as a result of the heavy rain and high wind, we also have a lot of people without electricity right now. We will continue to monitor that situation very closely and bring you updates as needed. Meanwhile, thank you so much for spending part of your evening here with us. Our coverage continues online at counton2.com, and we will break in with programming as needed. Thanks for watching.